Psalm 49 for the choir director, a psalm of the sons of Korah. Hear this, all peoples. Give ear, all inhabitants of the world, both low and high, rich and poor together. My mouth will speak wisdom, and the meditation of my heart will be understanding. I will incline my ear to a proverb. I will express my riddle on the harp. Why should I fear in days of adversity, when the iniquity of my foes surround me, even those who trust in their riches and boast in the abundance of their riches? No man can by any mean redeem his brother, or give to God a ransom for him. For the redemption of his soul is costly, and he should cease trying forever. That he should live on eternally, that he should not undergo decay. For he sees that even wise men die, and the stupid and the senseless alike perish, and leave their wealth to others. Their inner thought is that their houses are forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They have called their lands after their own names. But man in his pomp will not endure. He is like the beasts that perish. This is the way of those who are foolish, and of those who approve their words, of those after them who approve their words. Selah. For as sheep they are appointed for Sheol. Death shall be their shepherd, and the upright shall rule over them in the morning. And their form shall be for Sheol to consume, that they have no habitation. But God will redeem my soul from the power of Sheol, for he will receive me. Selah. Do not be afraid when a man becomes rich, when the glory of his house increases. For when he dies, he will carry nothing away. His glory will not descend after him. Though while he lives he congratulates himself, though men praise you when you do well for yourself, he shall go to the generation of his fathers, and they shall never see the light. Man in his pomp, yet without understanding, is like the beasts that perish. With this, it's just like you read that and you think about what the sons of Korah said, and it's so true. It's so true, man. Man in his pomp without understanding is like the beasts that perish. It don't matter how much money you got. It don't matter how much money you don't have. Why should you fear anybody? The older I get, the more I realize, man, every single person in this world is the same. We all just trying to make it. Some people have a little bit more material goods than others. And there's just a lot of truth in this. And so he starts out here. Just listen. Give ear to this. Everybody, all peoples, all inhabitants of the world, both low and high, rich and poor together. My mouth will speak wisdom, and the meditation of my heart understanding. He says, incline my ear to a riddle or a proverb. I'm going to express my riddle on a harp. He's probably sitting there playing this. You can just imagine this. Just pay attention to what he's saying. Why should you fear in the day of adversity? Should we fear any man? I had a tax assessor come by this morning and measure out an addition on my shop that was added when I bought it. And I was like, got to get your tax money. It'd been a couple years since they assessed the property, and I'm like, man. But, all of that is nothing. It's all meaningless, All of it means nothing. In the end, all of it's going to be gone. Think about how many people lived here before ever there was any of our former generations. Like, who walked across this land 300 years ago, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago? Maybe they set up a house. Maybe they lived in a tent. Maybe they just walked through it hunting game. A girl that works for me, she's from Turkey, and she told me somebody had found, they were doing some renovations in their house, and they discovered a passageway to an underground home or city or something, some dwelling underground beneath their house that was at least 2,000 years old. So all the things that we have put together as our own, it don't take long for them to fall apart and be forgotten. You just wouldn't even know they're there. I mean, they do LiDAR scans of the Central American jungle, and there's vast cities that have never even been discovered as far as like people walking into them and cleaning them out and all of that. There's people everywhere. Everybody needs to understand that. Look, you don't need to fear anybody. If you trust in your wealth, you trust in your riches are nothing. And it's true always. even in Solomon's day, Solomon had so much silver it was like pavement on the ground. Gold was plentiful. People were making money left and right, or buying and selling. And they had riches, but their riches couldn't redeem them. What do we take with us when we die? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I was at the Greene County Fair, and I noticed somebody had a booth where they were making wooden furniture, and I noticed they had a casket. It was like a mahogany casket. I was like, well, that's interesting. And I said, well, how much for this? And they started telling me about it. Some people will buy them for hope chest. I'm like, that's a big hope chest, I'm thinking, why would I want to spend $2,500, $5,000 on a casket to be buried in? It's ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I'm going to put him in a pound
Yeah, it's not going to hurt my feelings when that day comes, because I won't be there. And yet so many people worry about that. What will Grandma think about, like, if we didn't, whatever? Does it matter if she's in a gold box with plush pillows? No, she's dead. Okay, I mean, it's not
beautiful gown that they try to sell you that's nothing. They can really put that sale on you.
Yeah, so we worry about those things, like we want to have all that, and it's nice. It's nice to have.
That's for the living. The living do that for themselves.
Right, but after it's gone, what difference does it make?
What difference does it make?
Don't make any difference. Don't make any
If you
difference.
do it within 24 hours, you don't even have to be embalmed. Save that money.
Well, you ain't even got to be embalmed, really. I mean, what good does that do? I think about, like,
Well, you
and
don't
again,
have to do that for the government, but if you have your burial for 24 hours, you don't even have to be embalmed. That'd be fine with me.
That's good to know.
With your
So-
eyes rot.
so he says, you boast in your wealth, you boast in the abundance of your riches, but nobody can redeem their brother. You can't go before God and say, God, I'll buy him back. This whole idea of purgatory that some people have, that somehow you can pay for somebody to get to a better place in their eternity, is this verse right here says you can't do it. You can't pay God. The money you make here cannot pay God. He don't want your money. He don't even need your money. What he wants is you. No, your money is meaningless. So all the things that we put our hope in, like when I'm dead and gone, maybe I have a will and give it to somebody, but honestly, let them fight it out in probate. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't want to do that. But a lot of people do that. You want to pass it on and you want to be wise, but you can't redeem anybody. You can't give to God a ransom for yourself or for anybody else. You even should just stop trying. The redemption of his soul is costly. He should cease trying forever. Just don't even try. Like, you can't do it. So why even try? Can you gain enough? Can you really put enough money back for your long-term retirement?
How would you know how much that will be?
I know a lot of people who have put back a certain amount of money, thinking, on their working years, hey, $100,000, $500,000, $1 million, whatever it is, that should cover it. But they didn't take into account inflation, cost of medical insurance, all the things that they run into, and the next thing you know, they're greeters at Walmart. It's just that we put our hope in things that are not the right place. Don't even fear. Don't fear man. Don't fear anybody. Listen, pay attention that God does. Your riches aren't what's going to save you. Your riches can't save you here. Your riches can't save you in eternity. The redemption of the soul is costly. God's the only one that can redeem a soul. And he did that through Christ. This verse here, verse 9, that he should live on eternally, that he should not undergo decay, is actually prophetic of Jesus. He had no decay. He died, put him in the tomb. His body did not decay. He was in there for, 3 days roughly. On the fourth day, when they took Lazarus out of the tomb, his sisters were like, don't open that tomb. He stinks. He stinks. But Jesus' body didn't undergo decay. Decay is the natural process. I mean, you put a body in the ground within a short period of time, under normal circumstances, without embalming and all that, it's going to be dust again and all of those things. And that's normal and natural. And that's good. It's a good thing, So But living eternally is something that we can't buy it. We can't buy our way there. We can't gain it on our own merit, but the Lord gives it to us. Why fear man? We're all going to die anyways. That's what he says. He sees that even wise men die. The senseless and the stupid alike perish. I didn't say that, God did. The stupid people perish just like the wise men do. Wisdom is better than being senseless. We would agree with that. But they leave their wealth to others. Whatever that wealth is, even if it's just a pair of shoes or, a watch, or if it's $1 billion, you're going to leave your goods to others and you can't bring it with you. Verse 11 is revealing their inner thought is their houses will last forever. How many places are named after somebody? And that family's long gone, and there's nobody left from that family. Leakesville is named after somebody. Lucedale is named after somebody. Their families, most of them, maybe there's 1 or 2 members of the family still actually living here in those places, but most people, they don't know who they are. And if you didn't tell anybody, hey, Lucedale's named after somebody, Luce, that started a bank, and if you didn't know that, you'd be like, whatever, I don't even know how the town got its name, right? You just might think that somebody pulled that out of thin air. But we name places after ourselves. You could name your street after yourself if you want to. We almost did that with our driveway, but I missed out on that. Could have had another Scott Road. But we do that. We want our name our dwelling places, our name, our legacy to last on forever. But it doesn't. It doesn't last on forever. Man in his pomp will not endure. He's like the beasts that perish. How long does it take for you to get over the loss of a loved one? You got to carry their memory with you, but how long does it take for you to get on with your life?
You have to get out of
You have to.
get on with your life.
Okay, so a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, month, maybe, and then the funeral happens and do all that. What does everybody do? They get back on with their life. They go back to work. Somebody else ends up with the house. They go through all of the stuff that's needed, and it's done, settled. You have the remembrance of, hey, we used to do this, but we don't anymore, and give it a couple of years, and you won't even think about it anymore. We're so soon forgotten on that. That was where such and such a person lived, and 50 years down the line, nobody even knew who lived in those houses before they did, because they're sold and land's divided, and we see that all over the place here now. Older people's plots of land being sold and made into subdivisions, and people don't even know who owned the place. All of our pomp, all of our wealth, all of our legacy is gone. It's gone. This is the way of those who are foolish, of those after them who approve their words. So if Bill Gates is wealthy, Elon Musk is wealthy, but one day they're going to die and nobody's going to know who they were, and they won't care. Just like people who lived in the 1600s who were incredibly wealthy, I don't even know their name. It doesn't matter. So why should we, 1, fear them, or 2, lift them up as if they're to be honored above God? They're just people, just like you and me. We're all struggling with the same thing. As sheep, they are appointed for Sheol. Death shall be their shepherd. The upright shall rule over them. Their form shall be for Sheol to consume, so that they have no habitation. Where is the body? It's gone. They're gone. The body's gone. It's in the ground. The only thing that those people who have passed on have is their afterlife. I mean, eternity is eternal, but we don't see that. I mean, we're surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses according to Hebrews, but can we see them? No, you're not going to go outside and see a great cloud of witnesses. You might if the Lord opens up the heavens, but you don't see that. So it should put it in perspective. Don't fear anybody. Don't worry. Fear God. God will redeem my soul from the power of Sheol. He will receive me. So we don't worry about what everybody else is doing and how much they have, or keep it up with the Joneses. You can't do that anyways. It's impossible to do all that. But if the Lord redeems you, that's the most important thing. Do you know the Lord? That's basically what the sons of Korah are saying. Do you know the Lord, or are you trusting in your wealth and your riches? If you're trusting in your wealth and riches, it's going to fade away, and you're not going to have anything left, and you won't have anything. Your soul won't even be redeemed. There's no way to get it back. But if the Lord is your hope, if the Lord has redeemed your soul, then He will receive you, and you'll be with the Lord forever. You'll be with the Lord. Don't be afraid when a man becomes rich. When the glory of his house increases. When we see somebody get incredibly wealthy, or they become successful, or maybe they've got a great business, or whatever it is, they win the lottery. What should that do for us? Nothing. We should go, yay. Thank you, Lord, for your provision. I'm just going to live my life. Because when he dies, he will carry nothing away. His glory will not descend after him. Though while he lives, he congratulates himself. See how good I am? Every time I see somebody with a brand new vehicle, I think that, like right off the showroom floor. And look, I've had my share of vehicles, so I can't complain about this. But, they're out there flaunting it, like the car club guys. And I think to myself, these young guys that come to my shop and they want decals and stuff. I always joke with them when they've got it like leaning back, and I'm like, now when you get a little more money, you can lift the back of your truck up, right? I just joke with them because the things that we put such value on when we're younger or even older, there's no end to that. We congratulate ourselves while we're living. Men praise us for what we have. Your glory will not descend after you.
I always say I never seen no U-Haul behind no hearse.
I was thinking that one.
Yeah. Although I have seen one that had a U-Haul that was empty. It had nothing in it. But you're right. I mean, you can't take it with you. So what difference does it make if you drive a Maserati or a Lamborghini or a Pinto? Or you walk? Nothing. Doesn't matter. Although for us, we look at people and go, wow, he's got a brand new King cab.
Y'all ain't been thinking about me because I got a new car, have you?
No, I'm just pointing that out as a sometimes.
I'm proud of my new car, but it ain't everything.
Sometimes people look at that like a measure of wealth. You got a brand new Jeep. You know what I'm saying? You know what I
I
mean?
look at it as a decent way to get back and forth to the doctor.
Sure. And that's all that matters. The reality of it is, one day we're just going to go from this place. You're going to go to the generations of your fathers. And at that point where you're in the grave, you're not going to wake back up and see light. You're not going to wake up, crawl out of the ground and go, oh, it's sunny outside. It doesn't matter. You're gone. Okay? You're gone. It doesn't matter anymore. So man in his pomp, yet without understanding, is like the beasts that perish. The truth of it is we can't trust in our wealth, but we can trust in the Lord. It just shows the foolishness of people walking around going, look at this great big house. Look at all this stuff I've got. And it's like Jesus said about the rich man who had an incredibly large harvest. He says, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tear down my barns. I'm going to build bigger ones. I'm going to fill this whole place up with all my stuff. Jesus said, you're foolish. You don't even know. But tonight, your life's going to be required of you. So put it all in perspective. The Lord blesses with wealth and goods and all those things for provision. But we should never sit there and go, look at how much I've done for myself. Because it can go quicker than you got it.
You can be on top of the world one day and at the bottom of the next.
That's right.
Pride coming before a great fall.
That's right.
Sure,
That's right. So for those who put their trust in wealth, what happens if tomorrow the stock market collapses? Well, if you didn't have any money in there to begin with, it wouldn't matter. But if you did, would it matter? Not really, because you weren't using it. And you got to put it in perspective. Like, you're never going to take it with you. So let the government, give to Caesar that which is Caesar's. What does Caesar own? What does the U.S. government own? Well, that's their money. It's their legal tender. They can take it if they want to. Take it. Do you know the Lord? Do you know the Lord? Is He the one who redeems you? Or are you trusting in your wealth, your own goodness, or the things that you have? It's meaningless. It's a different perspective. Though this was written over 2,000 years ago, I think it's very applicable for today. Very applicable. Very much so.